So what you're going to learn today is how to add references to your Mendeley library. So hopefully you have downloaded and installed the Mendeley desktop software on your computer and have logged into your Mendeley account, which you should have also created. So I'll show you how to add references to your library, how to organize your references using folders and tags, which are kind of like subject categories or hashtags. Annotate your references and also any PDFs that you might add to your Mendeley account. And then probably the most important thing, create bibliographies in Microsoft Word. And finally, if we have a little bit of time near the end of the session, how to share references in groups. So let me briefly show you what Mendeley Desktop looks like. So this is the Mendeley Desktop software, and I'm going to turn on my little annotation feature here for a second here. So Mendeley's desktop has three sections. Section 1 on the left-hand side, Section 2 in the middle, and Section 3 on the right-hand side. Your folders are going to show up on the left-hand side in Section 1. So this is where you're going to create folders, and I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes, okay? When you click on a folder, the references for that folder will then display in the middle of the Mendeley screen. So they'll be displayed usually by default in a table. If you click on a specific reference, then that reference is going to display on the right-hand side. And this is the bibliographic information about that reference. The document type, the title, the author, and so on. Okay, so you can change and edit this information as you need to. So what Mendeley does is enables you to organize your references, fix errors in them, and then create bibliographies with them. When you have a Mendeley account, you'll be able to sync your references to Mendeley.com, so to the cloud storage. So all of your references will be stored on the web, and the sync button in Mendeley is up at the top. Okay, so I'm going to turn the annotation feature off now. So first thing you want to do, let me bring up my browser, is you have to go to Mendeley.com and create an account and download the software. So that's something that you're going to want to do if you have not done that already. Okay, when you go to Mendeley.com, there's going to be a download link at the top. That's where you download and install the software on your computer. Next to that download link, there's going to be a create account link, and that's where you create an account. You can use any email address you want. It doesn't have to be your Western email address, because Western, while I'm teaching you how to use this and while we support it, this does not come from Western. This is not connected to Western in any way. Okay? So this is the Mendeley desktop, all right? On the left-hand side where your folders will be. To create a folder, you can either click on the Create Folder link underneath down here, or up at the top in the toolbar, right at the top of the browse of the desktop software itself, there's going to be a folders icon, and you can click the plus to create a folder. When you create it, you can give it a name. So I'm going to call this test folder for today's session. Okay. References in Mendeley can be clicked and dragged into any folders that you want. And all you have to do is highlight them and click and drag them into the folder that you want them to go in. So here's the folder I created. Here's the two references that I clicked and dragged into it. If I go here to another folder, select a couple references and click and drag them into my test folder. Okay, go ahead and if you've got your Mendeley desktop software on your computer, go ahead and create a folder using either the create folder function or the create folder function at the top. Okay, because I just want you to get a little bit of practice with that. And as we're working today, if you have questions, feel free to unmute yourself or submit a question in the chat box, okay? And I will try to make sure to pay attention to that as we are working today. So today's session goes until noon. And as I mentioned to the people who were here earlier, today's session is more compressed than the usual sessions, so it goes a little bit faster because it's only an hour instead of an hour and a half. So you can create a folder using the test folder option, right? When you open up Mendeley Desktop the first time, you have to log in. So you're going to have to go up to File, and at the bottom of the File menu option, there's going to be a place to sign in or log in. I'm already signed in, so mine says sign out, but yours will probably say something like sign in or log in. So if you've created your Mendeley account, this is where you're going to go to log in so that you can sync your references to Mendeley.com. And my sync button is right up here at the top. Okay? So if I click that, Mendeley then syncs my changes, including my new test folder and the references that I've put into it, and syncs them to Mendeley.com so that they're saved. Now, there are a couple different ways of getting your references into Mendeley, okay? You can create a reference manually. So if I wanted to add a reference into my Mendeley test folder manually, I can go up to the top to File and do Add Entry Manually. When I click that, that's going to give me a blank reference entry. I decide what document type I want this to be. So say default here is journal article, but if it's a book or a section of a book, I select that. Type in the title of the article. Okay, author name, right? Journal name, and so on. Once you create it, just click Save. That reference will then be in your library. Now, most people don't really do this nowadays because you're usually not going to be dealing with physical journals or physical books. You're going to be doing more online searching. So the next way of adding references to your library is to basically do it by searching in a database, exporting references from the database, and importing them into Mendeley. I'm going to be demonstrating one way of doing this in a moment. Before I do that, I want to ask you, for those of you who are here, it looks like there are 3 of you. I'm going to be showing you how to use library search to do this, but are there any other databases that you would like me to demonstrate today to show you how to export references so that you can import them into Mendeley?
Uh, can you show me an example for the British Library?
What is it called?
British Library. British Library.
Which library?
British Library.
Can you type it into chat? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble understanding.
Sure.
Thank you. Want to learn how to search and export references from any one database, the British Library. Okay. So you mean just the British Library catalog?
I mean, it's a library which has like a lot of database, more of history related ones.
Right, but the British Library is very big, so I don't know
Yeah.
what specific database you mean though.
Okay.
I need to have a specific, so I'm not talking about just a site. So like if you go to the British Library, there are hundreds of databases there, most of which we don't subscribe to.
Okay.
So you're talking about the main catalog?
Yeah, you can just try that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. All right. That sounds good. If anything else comes up, if you have other ideas for databases you want me to demonstrate, put them in the chat. I'll try to get to them if we have time today. Okay. So first thing I would like you to do is go to the main library page. All right, so we're going to practice. If you've got Mendeley installed, I want to give you some practice searching and exporting references from particular databases. And today, first thing I'm going to show you is library search, which is the main library search engine. So you want to go to wmich.edu/library. Library search is kind of like the catalog for the British Library that you were mentioning. Library search focuses mainly on materials that are contained within the university libraries and our subscriptions. You can search it for books, streaming media, streaming music, streaming videos. You can search it for articles as well. And this article search gives you a broad search, kind of like Google Scholar. So what I would like you to do right now in library search is go ahead and run a search on a subject area that you are interested in. Okay. So I'm just going to put in a random set of keywords. Given that I'm the engineering librarian, I'm going to throw some keywords in here relating to engineering. But please feel free to use library search to search on your research area. Check off either books and media or articles. Doesn't matter which, because you're going to get references for either one, right? Once you've put in your keywords, click the green button on the right-hand side to run that search. When you run a search in library search, and I'm going to turn on my annotation feature again, okay? Right above each reference, you're going to see a little green push pin. That is what you click on in order to select a citation or reference to export to Mendeley. When you click that green push button, okay, it's going to send that reference up to the top of the page to something called My Favorites, which is the white push pin at the top of the page in the brown toolbar. My Favorites is temporary if you're not logged into your BroncoNet account in the library. If you log into your library account using the sign-in button, then the My Favorites folder becomes a permanent folder. And when you add things to it, they will stay there even when you're logged out. You do not have to be logged into your library account right now to use My Favorites, though. All right? So you don't have to. So if I want to select some of these references to then export them to Mendeley, all I have to do is click that green or blue push pin, and you'll see them shoot up to the top of the page, and everything that I select is then highlighted in yellow. Okay. Now I go up to the top of the page to My Favorites, and these are the items that I just exported. Okay. I want to export these now to be able to use them in Mendeley, and let me show you what is involved with that. So when you are using other databases, whether it's our library or the British Library or ProQuest or Engineering Village or IEEE, you have to export your references in one of 2 or 3 different formats. The 2 most common ones are the ones at the top of the page here. So RIS format is the most common one. That's been around for about 20 or 25 years. BibTeX format, which is also very common in computer science and engineering fields. If you do any kind of medical searching in PubMed, PubMed has its own proprietary citation format or reference format file called NBib. But basically what you're doing is you're exporting your references in one of these file formats, which are basically text files. They will be exported usually to your downloads folder, and you'll see them. They'll either be a .bib or .ris or .nbib for PubMed. If you were to open these in a text program like Notepad, you would just see a structured text file, which each of the fields filled with the appropriate information. So the title of the article, the name of the journal, the DOI or digital object identifier, the author names. And what happens is Mendeley imports this and puts this information into your Mendeley account and puts all the information in the proper fields in Mendeley. So what we're going to do here in library search is export these references into RIS file format. So in library search, from my favorites, you're going to check off the references that you want to export. You can either check them off individually or check the box at the top, which will check them all off altogether. Once you do that, click on the three dots to the right of my favorites and the push pin. These are your export options, these three dots. And you're going to see export BibTeX, export RIS. So these are the two most common ones. So you want to learn to recognize those. You can use either one. Both of them work perfectly well in Mendeley. I'm going to do RIS because that's the most common one. All you have to do is click export RIS and then click download. That should download it to your downloads folder. On some computers, it might download on your desktop, depending on what you have your desktop set up for. Okay, here's the RIS file that I just exported. Now I want to pull that into Mendeley. So in Mendeley, stop my, there you go. Go up to the top. You can either do add and do add files, or up in file, do import, and then tell it specifically what file format you're importing. Now I created an RIS file, so I'm going to do import RIS. It's going to navigate, hopefully, to your downloads folder. If not, go to your downloads folder. Select the file that you just exported from library search. Files from library search will usually say primo_RIS_export. And now I'm going to import that file. And it has added those references to my test folder, because that was the folder I had selected in Mendeley. And that's it. So the references are added. Now you'll want to check this information to make sure that it's correct. Okay, so make sure that it is formatted the way you want it to be. In particular, if you're using APA format, you might have to fix the formatting of the article titles, because APA format usually requires you to just capitalize the first letter of the title and the first letter of the subtitle. All right, so you have to change everything else to lowercase. Mendeley will not do that for you. If you have another citation format style that you use frequently, you want to make sure that you adjust the titles so that they fit that citation style. Once you've imported your RIS file, go up to the top and click sync to sync those files to Mendeley.com. Okay. So let me show you the British Library. All right. Most library databases work the same way. You run a search in whatever the database is, and in fact, the British Library uses our same system, Primo. So if I go here, right, and search this collection, put in a keyword, click the search button. All right. In the British Library system, okay, they have a little star in front of the references. Check off that star. That works like the my favorites in library search. Okay. Scroll up to the top and go to my workspace, because that's what my favorites is here. So the star materials are sent up to the top to my workspace. These are the references. Check them off. Go to save. Go down to push to RIS. So again, all right, just like in library search, we're looking for the RIS. So click push to RIS and click go. You're going to get a menu that looks like this. All you have to do is click OK. Don't even worry about the encoding. Click OK. That is going to save your file to your downloads folder. Okay. Now I'm going to go down, pull up Mendeley, go up to the top. Here I can just do add file. Okay, it'll work the same way. I'm going to select the second Primo RIS export. And there are the references that I just imported from the British Library. Okay. Now here's an example of something that needs to be fixed. So if I look here, this one reference, they added the word author to the author's name, and we don't want that. So I'm going to go to the reference here, and I'm going to take that out. Okay, and fix that. So you can fix anything. In fact, I need to fix the title too, because they put the author name in the title of the book. Okay, and also I'm going to, under publisher, I'm going to pull out the location and put that in city. And there we go. And don't forget to sync your changes at the top when you're done. Now, really quickly, I'm going to show you one other database, unless you have a suggestion for one. Any questions before I go any further? Okay. Actually, one other thing I'm going to show you. Mendeley also has a browser plugin that you can have installed in your Firefox, your Safari, your Microsoft Edge, or your Google Chrome browser that enables you to pull references in from a scholarly website right from your browser. I believe that I've got mine set up here. So this is what it looks like in my Chrome browser. So if you go on a website for a scholarly journal article, let me go to Google Scholar real quick. So if I go to a site and I'm on the page for a particular scholarly journal article, and I've got my Mendeley importer, all I have to do is click the Mendeley importer. It'll ask me to sign in with my Mendeley account. Okay. Once you sign in, try this again. Once you sign in, then your browser, the plugin, is then connected to your Mendeley account. And it will scan this page to try to pull out the scholarly information about the article. And then all you have to do is add it to your library. Now, right now, it's working a little slowly, probably because I'm on. Here we go. So here is, okay. I'm going to tell this that I want to add this to the test folder. And it'll even pull the PDF off the website for me if the PDF is available. Okay, I'll give it a second. So the web browser plugin is also available to you. In fact, let's go to my Mendeley account now, see if that thing was added. And I probably have to sync, and that's going to take me a while. But usually it will add it to your Mendeley account, and it will show up once you sync it. Okay. So let me show you very quickly another library database, just so you have a sense of how this works. So I'm going to go to the main library page, and I'll do the PsycInfo database. So PsycInfo is published by ProQuest. So if any of you have ever used ProQuest databases before, All the ProQuest databases work the same way. So you can go ahead and type in keywords. Okay, run your search. Okay. In most other databases, what you want to do is check off the references that you want to save, and then look on the page for a place that says save, all right, or export, all right. So I see these three buttons here, save options. When I go there, I see a bunch of different options for exporting these citations. One of them says RIS. Remember I showed you that earlier? The RIS format is the most common one. So that's the one you want to use. So I'm going to click RIS. It's going to export that RIS file to my downloads folder. Okay. And I'm going to do save file. Now all we have to do is pull up Mendeley. All right. Go up to the top and do either add files or go up to the very top and do import RIS. I'm going to do add files. ProQuest document. So this is the RIS file from ProQuest. I'm going to select that, click open, and it is now imported these items at the bottom here from ProQuest. Okay, and make sure you sync every time you pull things in. Now remember that you can click and drag any of these references to any other folder in your Mendeley library. Okay. So any reference can be in more than one folder. So how you organize your references will depend on what makes the most sense to you. Your folder names might be the names of projects or the names of specific subjects that you are studying, and they can be very specific. You can even move folders to become subfolders. So I just moved this folder, random, under my test folder. So now it's a subfolder. So if you want to have one folder for your dissertation and then subfolders for each chapter, you can do that. Okay. Now, when you select a reference on the right-hand side, as I mentioned earlier, the details about that reference show up, and these are all editable. You can change these and fix formatting issues, okay, depending on how you want to do that. Make sure you sync your files to save them. You can add notes about the articles that you read. Okay, so I can add notes from this particular article as I read it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Page 234. Okay, so you can add notes under the notes section for each reference. If you want to add PDFs, there's a couple different ways of doing that. If you already have a PDF stored on your computer, then if you go down to the bottom in the reference information on the right-hand side, you're going to see a place that says files, and this is where you add file attachments. So you click add file, and it will navigate to your computer. And go anywhere on your computer and find PDFs and click them to add them. And then they will look like this. It will show as a PDF attachment in the reference information. The PDF attachments also show up on your display of your library when you click on a folder. They show the PDF. When you double click on the PDF, once it's attached, okay, it will then open in your Mendeley window, and you can actually read from here. All right. You can select and highlight sections. So when you select a section, the toolbar will open up and you can highlight it, add a note. Okay. all of your highlighted sections and your notes show up here. So your highlighted, your notes that you've added will show up under the notes section for that reference. So this is the article that I've opened the PDF for. So you can use your Mendeley account to read PDFs. Now, the one thing you want to do before you add any PDFs to your Mendeley account is go up to the top to your Mendeley preferences. You have to set one setting so that Mendeley stores a copy of the PDF in your Mendeley account. So you're going to want to go to Mendeley Desktop Preferences, okay? And click the second box in the Preferences folder, File Organizer. And you want to check off the box that says Organize My Files. What that tells Mendeley is that when you pull a PDF into Mendeley, either adding it as attachment or clicking and dragging it, which I'm going to show you in a moment, that it needs to create a copy of that PDF in your Mendeley folder on your computer. And it's going to give you, it gives you the directory for that. You don't have to do anything different here. All you have to do is check off the Organize My Files box and click OK. Now, all the PDFs that you pull in and attach, it will create a copy of that in the Mendeley folder. Now, the other way of adding references to Mendeley is if you have PDFs stored on your computer. So if you've already got, at this point, PDFs that you've collected from your research and you want to pull them into Mendeley, all you have to do is click them and drag them to the folder where you want them to go in Mendeley, or drag them to the middle of the screen. Mendeley will try to extract from the PDF the metadata. So the title of the article, the journal name, the volume issue number, page numbers, and author names, okay? And it will not only add the reference, but it'll add the PDF. So here's an example of an article that I just clicked and dragged, and it pulled the reference information out. I'm going to try another one now. I'm going to click it, drag it into the middle, and again, it's extracted the reference information for this article and added the PDF. Okay, I'll do one more. Click and drag, select it. Now, it doesn't always work well, so be forewarned. Sometimes the PDFs that we have from our databases might be older and they're not encoded well. So if you pull a PDF in and the information is not added properly, you'll need to open the PDF in your computer and copy and paste the correct information to the right-hand side to the bibliographic reference. You always want to make sure, whether using Mendeley or any other reference software, to make sure that the information here is correct, because this information is what then gets put into the citations in your bibliographies. Okay, and remember the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. You want to make sure that this is high quality metadata. All right. Now, one last thing before I show you about creating bibliographies. Now, Mendeley, pull up my Mendeley presentation here. Mendeley charges, you have your Mendeley account for free, and you can have as many references in your Mendeley account as you want. Mendeley does have a limit to how much memory it has on Mendeley.com. So if you are adding PDFs to your account and you want to sync those to the Mendeley web, not just the citations, but the PDFs, that will use up your Mendeley memory. Mendeley gives you 2 gigabytes of storage space for free, and anything more than that, you have to pay. Now, if you do want to sync your PDFs to Mendeley.com and not just the references, you have to go to, let me pull up my, on Macs, you need to go to the preferences. Oh, what's that? Actually, all you have to do in Mendeley, go up to My Documents, All Documents at the top, which is your whole library, and do Edit Settings. and click Synchronize Attached Files, and then tell it which folders you want to sync the folders to. So attached files mean the PDFs. So click Synchronize Attached Files, okay? And then tell it which folders you want to sync the files to, and click Save and Sync. I don't do this because I don't feel like using up my Mendeley memory, okay? But you can if you want to, and I'll show you near the end of the session that you can pay to have more memory in your Mendeley account if you choose. So now the next thing is creating bibliographies, okay? So in your Mendeley account, your references are stored in your folders, okay? You can sort them, all right? Now, if you go up to the top to the View button, you're going to see under View a place where it says Citation Style. And this shows you the citation styles that are loaded in your Mendeley account, okay? You may start out with none. So if you go to Citation Style and you don't see anything loaded, you want to click on More Styles, and you want to add some citation styles. So I have a bunch in here because I do a lot of workshops. My default style is American Psychological Association 7th edition. To find that, or MLA of Chicago, click Get More Styles, and then search for the style of your choice. Chicago Manual, okay, Turabian, Modern Language Association, right? American Psychological Association. Or you could type in the title of a journal. You click on the journal title after you've typed it in and you find it in the search results and click Install. And that will install that citation style in your library, in your Mendeley library. It will show up under Installed. And then all you have to do is select the style you want and click Use this style. Okay, so I'm using APA 7th edition, the most recent one. I click Use this style. So now, to create a bibliography, there's a couple of different ways of doing this. There's a quick and simple bibliography if you just need to generate a really quick list of references to share with a colleague and you want them formatted in your default citation style. To do a quick bibliography, find the folder that you want to create the bibliography from. Sort the references in that folder using the authors column. Sort them alphabetically. Click and drag, select them all. Okay. Pull up the document you want to pull them into. So here I've just got a quick blank Microsoft Word document. I'm going to go to Mendeley, click, and I'm going to drag those references over from here into my Microsoft Word document. And they are copied into my Microsoft Word document in my default citation style, which is APA in my case. Okay. With this kind of bibliography, you can fix any errors. So I can go through and fix anything that I perceive as an error in my bibliography, particularly these all caps, which sometimes get pulled into references from databases. Okay. So that's the quick and simple bibliography. If this doesn't work, if clicking and dragging doesn't work, all you have to do is right-click on the references you've selected in Mendeley. Okay. Right-click and do Copy as Formatted Citation. And go over into your document and paste them in. And again, they will be pasted in your default citation style, which in my case is APA. So that's the quick and simple bibliography. That is not what you're going to do if you have a dissertation or a journal article that you are working on. For that, you're going to want to use the Microsoft Word plugin. So Mendeley has a Microsoft Word plugin that when you install it, it will connect your Mendeley account to your Microsoft Word instance or software on your computer. And to add that, you just go up to Tools. There's going to be in the drop-down a place where it says Install MS Word Plugin. Now mine is installed already, so mine says Uninstall. When you install the Microsoft Word plugin, open up Microsoft Word on your computer. Your Mendeley toolbar is now going to show up under References in the Reference tab in your Microsoft Word toolbar at the top. So here's my Microsoft Word document. I go up to the top, I click References, and here is the Mendeley toolbar. One button is Insert or Edit Citation. One button is Merge Citations. Insert Bibliography when I'm ready to paste the bibliography into the document. My styles, my default styles, will show up in the Style dropdown. All right. So American Psychological Association, although if you've got a bunch of different styles, you can select any style you want that you have loaded. This connects to your Mendeley account. Now, all you have to do to start adding references in text citations is to start writing. When you get to the place in the document where you want to add your reference, your in-text reference, click there, and then click Insert or Edit Citation. That is going to open up the Mendeley search box, which looks like this, the citation editor. Now all I have to do is start searching for a reference, either an author name or a keyword. Once I get the references I want, I just select them and click OK. They are then added in my default citation style as an in-text citation. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add some more citations here. Insert Edit Citation. Hit OK. The reference is added. Okay, so here's the reference right there. I'll add a couple more citations, and then I'll show you how to add the bibliography. Okay, so I've got some in-text citations. Now, when you are ready to add your bibliography, and you can do this at any point, you can do this after 5 minutes of adding citations and writing. Go to the bottom of your document, the very end, and click there. Go up to the top and click the Insert Bibliography button, and your bibliography will be added to your document in the default citation style that you've chosen. Okay. Now mine's APA. If I want to change that to a different one, all I have to do is change it at the top and it will reformat my bibliography instantly. Okay. So you can reformat your bibliography instantaneously using the drop down at the top of the page. And this is the power of using a citation management software like Mendeley. It enables you to create bibliographies and reformat them completely. Now, if you want to change an in-text citation, click on where that in-text citation shows up. Click Insert or Edit Citation again at the top of the page. If you want to remove a citation, just select it and hit your back button. If you want to add a page number, just select the citation and this drop down will show up, this menu, and just add your page number. Okay, I'm going to add another reference here. And now the references are changed. I've added new ones, and I have a page number for this reference. I could add page numbers for the others simply by selecting them and clicking Insert or Edit Citation to add the other page numbers. Okay, give it a moment, and it will refresh itself. Now, keep in mind that bibliographic citation management software is not perfect. So if there are errors or problems with your references in Mendeley, in your library, they will show up in your bibliography. So case in point, take a look at this journal article. This title is in all caps. And we know that there is pretty much no citation style where the journal article is going to be completely in all caps. You cannot fix this here in your document. So I can't do something like this. Okay? Because when this is refreshed, Mendeley will overlay these changes and revert it back to the original formation. So if you want to fix something that's incorrect in your bibliography, you want to go back to your Mendeley account. So I'm going to go back to my Mendeley account, search for that citation, and here it is. Okay? I have to fix this citation here. Okay? And go through and change everything here and sync it in order to make those changes appear in my bibliography. Then here, when I click refresh, it is going to fix this reference here. Okay? You notice when I click on my bibliography, it's highlighted in gray. That is because this bibliography is code. It's not just the reference, the bibliography, but it's all the Mendeley coding underneath it. Okay? So that's basically the basics of using Mendeley. One other thing I'd like to show you before you go. Mendeley allows you to create groups to share references with. Okay? So in Mendeley, on the left-hand side, underneath all of your folders, if you scroll down, okay, you're going to see groups. You won't have any groups to start out with, but you can create groups. Now, groups in Mendeley are basically a way of sharing references with colleagues or with people that you are collaborating with. To create a group, click on the Create Group link, same as creating a folder. Creating a group is basically creating a folder that is shared with other people. So name your group. You can describe your group. Okay, brief description. There are three different types of groups. There's the public group, which is openly available on the Mendeley.com website. And you can use that for open discussion and sharing references. The invite-only group is a public group, but people have to be invited to participate. And then the private group does not appear on the web at all. It has closed discussions, and you could share PDF files. So creating a group, you want to name it, choose what group you want, and then create the group. You can then invite people to the group. Now, this is key to remember. If you're going to invite colleagues, you need to be using the email addresses that they use in Mendeley for their Mendeley account. So you have to find out from your colleagues what email addresses they use as their username for Mendeley. Then you type in their email address here and click Send Invites. And then click Send Invites. Those invites go to your colleagues. When they click on them, it will then open their Mendeley account and link your new folder to their Mendeley account. Your group will then show up in their Mendeley account under Groups, and you can add references to that group the same way you do with folders. But these references now, when you sync your Mendeley account, will then appear in your colleagues group in their Mendeley account as well. So you can add details, you can add notes and quotations, okay? You can add PDFs. So if you want to share a PDF, you could add the PDFs, and then they will see the PDFs in their group as well. Okay. So I want to pull up that PowerPoint again. We're near the end of today's session. So my name is Ed Eckel. This is my email address. My colleague in the library, Michelle Bear, she's the education librarian. We are both available to help answer your questions regarding how to use Mendeley, how to create bibliographies, how to add materials to Mendeley. So if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. Now, what I would like to do is to ask to fill out a registration form or an evaluation form. Okay, I'm going to post the link to the evaluation form in the chat box, and I'm also going to put it up on the overhead here. So we'd like to get feedback from you on these workshops this week to see what you think of them and to help improve them. So if you wouldn't mind, you're also welcome to post a question in chat and unmute yourself. But if you wouldn't mind quickly taking this feedback survey, I would really appreciate it. Now, once I'm done with the recording today, in fact, I'm going to turn the recording off in a moment. Once the recording is available for me in WebEx, I will send it to you along with a handout with screenshots on how to use Mendeley. And I'll also be sharing a step-by-step tutorial that I've created so that you can follow along on your own time to see how to use Mendeley. All right. So just be prepared for that. You'll be getting that probably either later today or tomorrow.